talking
Yeah.
about is live. Well, I shouldn't say live services because that's a game model. It's the paid services for
Yeah.
online subscriptions like Xbox Live and so forth. Now, what do you think of what is
And
it,
PS5,
Nintendo
yeah.
Switch going over? What are your thoughts on that before I get into why I like and dislike it and so forth? My thoughts.
Like, actually, it doesn't surprise me too much, man. Like, it was bound to happen anyways, cause like probably Nintendo is kind of like adapting still to new things that a
Yeah,
lot of companies
yeah, because
is
there's a funny
bringing up.
thing that you
Like
yeah, you're
paying.
right. They are older and they are adapting, but I wouldn't say that
Yeah.
they are less advanced than the others because as opposed to the PlayStation 4, which is literally just a PlayStation 3 with better graphics, right? Or the
Oh
Xbox
yeah.
where they completely fucked up their console first time round at least. They're only trying to patch it
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
with each installment. They try and just improve it in ways. The Nintendo, they really know their shit with game consoles. Like the first
Oh
time, like they excel in platform consoles. Sorry, portable consoles. And so when they thought of the idea of making like going onto that even harder, that concept of portable gaming, they ended up making the greatest significant improvement to portable gaming, which is a Switch, which is why it's selling so well right now. Is purely just because of how incredible that console is. So the fact that they were the first ones
oh
to
yeah.
do that, I'd say they aren't that far behind. It's just kind of like with the internet that they're kind of behind. And this topic has came up before in the past. What is it with the Xbox Live when it first did it, and the PlayStation 4 ended up catching up. And
Oh yeah.
business-wise, like when people were looking at that, they were looking at the PlayStation 4, and they're like, oh, they ended up to do a paid subscription. Well, looking at it business-wise, it's hard to ignore it because people for Xbox are already happy and willing to pay that much money. I mean, me myself, it's like we're talking $80 a month for a single year of using the internet, which you're already paying to use in the first place, just to use that
Yeah.
console, that given console. So it is very annoying to me. I hate it. The PC always looks far better because it doesn't use it. It's a functionality to just have free online services now. But and Nintendo used to have that, but now they're realizing, just like PlayStation, that people are willing to pay for it. They're happy to, just like microtransactions, as I am worried. Nintendo, I don't think is going to get that bullshit on it, but the fact that other people are doing it and getting away with it, and people are just fine with it,
Uh,
is
uh,
why Nintendo, of course, is considering it and planning to implement it. By September, I think it
oh
was last
yeah.
I checked, which is around when I'm guessing, because I haven't officially announced it. It is 2018, and it's obviously going to be later, not sooner. So, it's probably going to be around that time. And considering that's a big game that everyone's going to want to play online, you know where this is going. But considering Nintendo still will be doing a lot better off because it is only $30 for a year. So that is a lot more favorable, but I'm
Yeah.
still very pained because
Oh yeah.
like you
Pay
said,
for nothing. Like
it
yeah.
is
Like
just trying.
servers. It doesn't cost a thing to like have good servers. It's
Uh,
just giving them money.
exactly, like PC, for instance, does it all for free, and that's how it should be for me. But if
Oh yeah.
more and more people, are going over to that, PlayStation, Xbox, and now even Nintendo, then I'm a bit worried because this could go two ways for how I see it. And the way that it could go is one, PC will adapt, because it's easy paying and customers are willing to pay for it, like I just said. Or two, they could end up going the other way and PC will reign supreme in because it's got that free functionality of the online services. People will flock to PC instead of playing the other games and they will just won't pay for the online services if they have those consoles and just rather choose PC. But
Oh yeah.
I don't see that
But
being as likely because people like to play consoles with their friends because most people get consoles and they're more talkative on consoles and shit. So,
yeah,
what the fuck are they doing? So that's my concern is that it will be going forward. Like everyone will want to start doing this, and I don't like that. Um,
yeah. But the funny thing is that Nintendo waited, like,
yeah,
cause the
yeah.
previous generation, the Wii U, like they didn't have that. And
Well,
the
the
Wii
reason
U,
they
like,
didn't have for the
it,
Wii U specifically was because the Wii U was a considered a failure
oh yeah.
console because of how few sales it made that year. So I'm not surprised with that one, honestly.
But I thought about it, like they waited for like a console, like a good console they could create it, that had good sales.
Mm,
Because probably like people thinking like in the Wii U, like if they had like, like a subscription thing, like probably a lot of people will be complaining about it just because of how bad the content turned out to be.
mm.
And like they probably waited, or it's just that they are cutting up with the things like other gaming consoles companies. I mean, are like bringing it up.
Mm. Yeah, it's just trying to fit in with the rest of the consoles because it does stick out quite a bit, but it sticks out for the right reason for not having it. The console looks a lot better, and apparently people have been
Oh
telling
yeah,
me that people are complaining about it, but I haven't seen any of those complaints, so that's why I'm making this video. Because I want to
yeah.
make this conversation more lively and out there and involved because I'm not happy with it changing. This doesn't just affect the
Yeah,
Switch, for instance. This will go to 3DS and 2DS as
future.
well.
Yeah.
Because it's Nintendo and they all connect to one another through the
Oh
same
yeah.
thing because it's done by account. It's not like PlayStation where it's like the PlayStation 3 is free online still. Even though no one plays the PlayStation 3 anymore. I mean, I'm sure some people do, but not
Oh
many,
yeah.
of course, because they're not making any games for it. But you know,
Is it like the previous generation, like the 360? I think like in that generation 360 won just because of the things they brought. I think they were the first ones that brought up new things. To that generation before PS3. Because PS3 was more of race in that time than the 360,
um,
but the 360 has, I think, at least better online. You were paying for online, but I felt like playing online was as laggy as in PS3, but PS3 was
well,
free, so
PS3
every
did come out later, and it did charge a lot more. They
yeah.
actually officially released a statement, PlayStation, back in the days of PlayStation 3, which PlayStation 3 was getting smashed by the sales of Xbox back then. Even though
Oh
the
yeah.
Xbox had the infamous red ring in the first year it was released, right before they
Oh
patched
yeah.
it out,
Yeah.
and
I remember that.
yeah, and with PlayStation, they released a statement that was so bad because back then the PlayStation was a more expensive one, alternative
Yeah.
console, and people were like, "How can I pay for this?" And they just officially released a statement saying, "Just get a second job." Like, wow,
Damn.
PlayStation. So
I,
you're thinking of how bad the
Hypocrisy.
Xbox was when it launched with all of this bad PR rep.
Yeah.
It was about just as
Yeah.
bad for the PlayStation 3. It's just the roles have been reversed, you know. So
Yeah.
and and now with the consoles, with PlayStation, it practically never evolves. I mean, the only thing they've really done throughout the four consoles that they've made was one, the diagonal movement with the joysticks for PlayStation 2, and the Blu-ray with PlayStation 3. They haven't really made anything new or anything incredible. Nintendo's then stepping up because with the consoles it went Nintendo first, right? Then PlayStation was made, to counteract Nintendo. You know, they had their mascot, the first ever mascot for PlayStation, which was Crash, which is funny now because it's coming over to every console. So there's no longer a
Yeah,
mascot for PlayStation. PlayStation's going through an identity crisis where they're paying everyone to be their fucking mascot because they're just incapable of having just one, like Nintendo. You know, and it was a
I know.
platformer
Is it?
because every mascot had to be a platform because Nintendo has his mascot as a platformer. So of course you got.
Yeah,
And then you know, Sony had what is it, Sonic, but you know, they don't make consoles anymore. I don't think.
oh
Because well, they'd be fucking failures. Anyway, the PlayStation was made to catch up and rival the Nintendo. It was actually beating it for quite a while with the PlayStation 3 and 4, same as the Xbox.
oh yeah,
And the Xbox was made to combat the PlayStation, right? Because it came out around the same time the PlayStation 2 did. It didn't come out while the PlayStation 1 was around. So
yeah.
then it came out with Halo as pretty much the only good game for on the original one. Certainly the only
Oh yeah, just for
big
the
and
Halo.
successful one. But then Nintendo finally, because the two consoles are fucking up and well, not really doing anything too incredible, Nintendo finally stepped in and reclaimed its position at the top. But you know, now they're doing this paid thing, and that's not really
That's
good.
concerning.
You know, because PC
Yeah,
gaming is not really a console, so I completely take it out of the equation because it's a platform, not a console. Even though people do call it a console because you play games on it, like you do other consoles, right? But it's not a console; it's a platform for gaming. But it's certainly looking better now because it has free online services. You know.
yeah. But is that like back then? You know, the Wii. It had like how much selling consoles?
Oh
Like
yeah, the
100
Wii
million,
back
something like
then
that.
was a huge success.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just ever since they've been releasing a ton of Nintendos, you know, the DSi, the DS Lite. They made a lot of those
Oh
portable
yeah.
ones. They were making them almost
The
every year now, and
3DS.
dude, there was so many. The 3DS XL and so forth, the Nintendo
Oh yeah.
XL, fucking like it's just the biggest screen. There's a
It's,
last time, and then they do that for the Wii, where they're like the Wii U and all that shit.
yeah. Oh yeah. That was
Godly.
fucking stupid.
Yeah, it
But
all it does is
but the
just
funny
stop
thing.
the progress of games coming out for that one console. All it does is devalue the other versions of that console. You know, so I am also worried because the
Oh yeah.
Nintendo Switch is really good, and I actually bought it because it's so good. But I am
Oh yeah.
also
Especially
worried
with the
about
games, man.
how long the lifespan of that specific console will be. Like, you know, because unlike with the Xbox and the PlayStation, you know how they bring out PlayStation 2 Slim, you know, it's just like a thinner version of it.
Oh
And
yeah.
ever since then, both the PlayStation and the Xbox have done slim versions after they made the console, right? Which were just like improved
Yeah.
versions that were always thinner, which I appreciate. But after that, like Nintendo kind of does the same thing, but instead of just improving it, they make it that every game released from then on is only released on that version of said console, like 3DS, for instance. You know, and that's annoying because
Yeah.
if they do that with the Switch, then it's only going to get like a year or two of life, and then
Before
you're
they
just going
get
to have to go
interrupted
and
too.
spend another $400 on a new one, and that I don't really want to see happen to Nintendo. You know. Because Nintendo's looking pretty fucking good since they don't do microtransaction bullshit like a lot of other AAA publishers and developers do right now. And with and Microsoft as well, they don't have the automatic billing system where you put in your credit card details and you automatically bill each time, and you have to actually get the Xbox app on your PC or a phone just specifically and sign in with the account and connect all that there just so you can turn off the automatic billing so you're not charged every month, right? So I, as well, from
Yeah.
this video, if you take away anything, if you have an Xbox, don't give your credit card details. They're not trustworthy. You know, they publicize your privacy, which I'm not going to talk about in this video. And with
Oh
PlayStation
yeah.
Network, the reason why I wouldn't recommend that, even though it's kind of forced if you want to play online, and the reason why I don't like it, is because you have to put in your credit
Yeah.
cards to even get to play online. You have to give them that detail, which is why it's very concerning when you hear about the times they've been hacked.
Yeah,
It's like, oh god. Because you're just giving
it's
them
probably
their
like,
details. You don't have the option to just pay for the subscription in a store and just do it that way. It's like, no, to actually make your online account, you have to put it in, which Nintendo doesn't do, even though, they're
it's
still asking
probably,
for money. It's because, it's this console that's generally aimed for
oh yeah,
kids, even though they're now making games for adults as well, and they can appeal to the adult crowd, which I'm really appreciative that they're finally going to third parties for their games and shit. Thank God, because that was a huge restriction from the other consoles like the Wii and shit. They wouldn't have too many
yeah,
other games from other people if they weren't Nintendo, which was another reason why people didn't like it because they weren't releasing any games, even though they were releasing decent consoles. They weren't making anything new. They were just re-releasing tons of
it's like,
Mario, milked tons of
yeah, in the Wii
Zeldas,
U.
constantly just doing Pokemon games and just reselling you Mario Kart and Mario Party.
It's
You
like,
know,
yeah, the Super Mario
and it's
one,
just like
the
they're
Wii
all the
U, the Wii
same.
U one. Yeah, it's like, it's
But it's glad.
the
I'm
one.
really glad that they now they go into other sources. Like you get the Doom game and the shit like that on the Switch now too. Like Dark Souls is going to the Crash. Like all of
Oh
that
yeah,
shit is just like, oh dude, that's so cool.
a lot of good games, man.
Oh yeah, they're finally getting third parties in there, so they're looking better in most respects to the other consoles. I will admit, like if there was any console I would recommend right now, it would definitely be the Switch. But you know, I mean, the services still is cheaper than their alternative, the PlayStation and the Xbox. But I'm
The
still
big
not
ones,
happy where
yeah.
they're going, because like the PC is still looking a
Oh
flop,
yeah.
except for the fact that it's not as portable or anything. Although it is still cheap.
It's like, hopefully they don't go to the dark side too and have microtransactions. That would be
Yeah,
like the cherry to the top of the cake,
yeah,
man.
exactly. That is also another concern here, um, with this.
Because like PS4, man, like they didn't have that option like to pay. You had to pay online in the PS3. But
Mm.
once like they saw that
Because it's a
360,
good business
like
venture.
Microsoft,
Like money wise, it
yeah,
sells well, and generally, because there are enthusiasts like myself that have issue with it, but we're talking the mainstream crowd. Because I don't represent the mainstream crowd as much as I want to. I'm not really fitting into that crowd. I may make videos that entertain, but I
yeah.
don't represent them. I may represent the enthusiasts, which would be like about 20% of gamers or some shit. It's not the mainstream. The mainstream is what matters in solving issues here. And, they don't have an issue with it. They're willing to pay. So,
And if you
that's,
notice too, man, like Microsoft and Sony, the only difference why Microsoft right now is winning in the selling console war, if we call it a war, is because Sony knows which um third party companies to get, the third party games to get.
mm,
They having good games,
well, in that
exclusive
term,
games
I
that
would
Microsoft
say,
doesn't have.
Microsoft actually has, a lot more functionality, which I find more important than games. However, for the, consumer, like I said, the people that
Yeah,
care more about, I just like the mainstream crowd. They're like the type of people that say, I don't really care. I just play games, but they don't really care about
yeah.
functionality or whatever. Then they completely
It's the
forget
game
about
really
how,
about.
for instance, Xbox lets you put in both Xbox 360 and Xbox One games right into the
I
console
know.
and play it.
Yeah.
They have all these different functions, the sales they're putting in reviews. they're giving all these different functions that are specifically only on the Xbox that haven't been around for ages and are being put in, which is funny because the replay thing, the PlayStation 2 was the first console around that actually gave the functionality to replay older games on the said console. But the
Oh yeah.
Xbox is taking that to the whole new step for once and is the one that's doing it, whereas PlayStation can only do that by downloading a digital copy. But like
And
with
do it
the
very well too.
Xbox, you just put it in and play. You know, so the Xbox is winning in terms of you know, functions that the consoles do.
Yeah.
Then the Switch comes in and are like, these barely even look like functions in comparison, you know? And it's so accessible, just make the Switch and easy to set up with and fiddle with. But we need to wrap this up because it's getting to 20 minutes. Do you have any final statements?
No, man. I think we got some good points, but I think the only thing I want to say is that the Switch probably will keep on doing the same things unless, like, you know, the sales are doing bad or things like that, because they're doing pretty well right now. They making some good sales right now. But
Yeah,
the only
I
thing
believe
that
so.
worries me is microtransactions, man. They're bound to push it that way depending on how things turn out, you know?
Nah, I'm not sure. I think they're getting a lot of good rep. Like, with each passing day, they're looking better and better, and there's a damn good reason
Oh
for
yeah.
it. They put gameplay first, and there's no microtransaction bullshit. So I think they're actually
Oh
gonna
yeah.
stay looking really fucking good if they stick down that road, and I think they will. I mean, for all I know, anything can happen, you know, in this industry, in this day and age, anything can happen. It could be the next day, you're right. But I don't think that's going to be that way, and I really hope it isn't.
Or any sooner. I
But yeah, it is
hopefully, man.
always that concern because they are clearly adopting that idea with this, where it's like, you know, easy money to be made, and
Probably the
the majority aren't
like.
complaining. Some people will maybe,
Oh
sure,
yeah.
but not the majority. That's for sure. Anyway,
Oh yeah.
thanks for watching.